Um, this is gonna be a rambling. This is gonna be a rant, but I'm gonna talk about this one particular topic. It is going to be titled "Jocks," the athletes. Student athletes. School jocks and all that stuff. And I was an athlete to some degree. I played sports. I played basketball, football, and baseball. Was I good? I was average. I was average at best. But I did know how to play. Um, when it comes to the jocks, mainly in high school and also in college, even in grade school, but mostly high school and college, a lot of people gravitate towards those people because of the fame, the notoriety, the social status, and then later on, the money, the celebrities, especially coming from, their respective hometowns. And I understand to some degree that people idolize these jocks and all of these athletes because they have the ability to do things what normal people can't do. So that's why they get paid a lot of money when it comes to their profession, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever. And to tell you the truth, man, I realized a long time ago, even before I even graduated out of eighth grade, out of grammar school. An older man told me that you gotta have a plan B. I said, what if you don't get picked up by the major leagues? You gotta find a substitute in order for you. So you gotta find a career that best suits you because a lot of people don't make it within the big leagues of their sports profession. And you know what? Guys like him, they were right, including my mother and father. My father said the same thing. You gotta have a plan B just in case you don't make it, and that is so true. And luckily, I stuck to education. All throughout high school and also through college. Eventually, I graduated from college, so thank goodness for that. If it wasn't for the elders, including my parents, I probably would have never made it out of high school. Maybe not even college. I probably would have never made it out of college, let alone high school. So thank goodness for that. But the main thing I want to talk about is, you know, people want to idolize these jocks, these athletes, and all that stuff. And let me tell you something, man. I understand the idolization. I understand that you admire these people because they have the ability to do things what normal people can't do. I get that, but at the same time, you should never idol worship no man. You should never worship any type of man. That should, so you should never idol worship a human being. That's blasphemy. You should never idolize a human being. What you need to do is to know thyself and do for self. And if you're a religious person, you must keep your eyes on the prize. You must worship the Most High. If you're a religious person, Christian, Muslim, if you're a part of Judaism, you need to worship the Most High, and that's it. That's the only being that you should worship is the Most High. And for the most part, you must have knowledge yourself. But just going back to so-called idolizing and worshiping these athletes, I'm here to tell you this, man. I've been around athletes. I've been around student athletes, who was, NFL bound, NBA bound, and also MLB bound, Major League Baseball bound. I've been around those people who was bound to succeed in the major leagues. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. Not all of them, but shit, man. To tell you the truth, man, half of those jocks, half of those athletes, they're not that bright. They're not that smart. I mean, don't get me wrong, they know how to play basketball and all that stuff. They know how to play sports and all that stuff. Their profession. They're very, very good when it comes to their profession. But when it comes to academics, when it comes to shit, not all the time, but sometimes when it comes to common sense, they lack that. Some of these athletes lack common sense. And when it comes to academics, they're not that bright. When it comes to being an average student at best, a lot of those athletes are not even average students. They're below average. And then you have nerds, kind of like me. I was kind of like a nerd too. Even though I was average in sports, I was kind of a nerd for the most part. But you got nerds, who were willing to help out the athletes, but for a price. When it comes to their tests or when it comes to their essays, those jocks, those student athletes will pay off the nerds or the bookworms to do their homework for them, to do their tests and their essays for them, so they can get a good grade. I'm like, it is what it is. But I'm just letting you know that a lot of athletes, the main reason why the main reason why they're not good in their academics is because for most of their life they would practice on their profession, on their future profession, which is basketball, football, baseball, whatever. And by practicing their profession, they don't do good in academics because all they know is their future sports profession. So they tend to not do very well when it comes to scholastic means, you know. And something else I want to say. But a lot of these athletes they don't do good when it comes to school, you know. And luckily, when it came to me, luckily I found a balance. But for the most part, I became a nerd, in my later years, like in high school and all that stuff, especially in college, because I realized what my elders, including my parents, said. You gotta have a plan B, and luckily I stuck to that plan B. Because a lot of these athletes that I came across, some of them dudes didn't make it, and a lot of them struggled. So some of them struggle just to find their niche or just to find what they are so good at. Some dudes, they work the regular nine to, former athletes, former high school athletes, or even former college athletes, they began to work a regular 9 to 5 job. Some found trades or some found careers. But you have others that went to the wayside. They developed a drinking problem or a drug problem, and eventually, not all, but some of those former athletes, high school and college athletes, they died from their addictions. They died from their drug and alcohol addictions. It is very unfortunate. But overall, what I'm trying to say is that we should not be worshiping nor praising these athletes. I mean, don't get me wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with giving these players respect. Ain't nothing wrong with just congratulating them on their success or congratulating them on how well they did when it came to their sports profession. But to idol worshiping these people, that's a no-no. Because number one, they're human beings just like you and me. And number two, a lot of these athletes are overrated. Because like I said before, they're not that bright. So, a lot of them lack common sense. And they're not scholastic like that, man. When it comes to academics and all that stuff, no disrespect, man, but a nice amount of those jocks are pretty damn dumb. They're dumb, not just like I said, not just scholastic means, not just when it comes to school, but also when it comes to common sense. They're not that bright. They're pretty damn dumb. So we just have to be mindful of what we say and do, and we have to be mindful of the people that we, so-called idolize and worship. And like I said before, you should not worship no man. You should worship the Most High. If you're a religious person, worship the Most High. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, gain knowledge of self. Know thyself and do for self. But that's all I gotta say about that, man. That's all I gotta say. Stop worshiping these athletes because they're human beings like you and me. And that, not all of them, but half of those athletes are not that damn bright when it comes to scholastic means. And a lot of them lack common sense. So you should not be worshiping these people. You really shouldn't. So keep your eyes on the prize. Do what you need to do. Or if you're a religious person, worship the Most High, and that's all you need. And that's all I gotta say about that, man. Sure, that's all I gotta say. So yeah, man. So thank you so much, and have a good day.